My name is Pooja Shah. I just finished med school, so just graduated, and I am going into ophthalmology. We'll start residency in June, and then all of the styles of training that I do include yoga, meditation, weightlifting, running, hiking. That's about it right now, but it changes as my moods change. I think the first form of fitness that I did was just like swim classes and tennis classes as a kid. I really didn't take to them very well, and honestly, I wasn't very athletic growing up. But something that helped me a lot in kind of my fitness journey was my sister. So she's actually a personal trainer and has been into fitness for so long. I think she's 5 years older than me, so I was probably like 9 or 10 when she really started getting into fitness. And something both of us did was martial arts. So I started Taekwondo when I was 9, and I practiced for about 11 years. Got to 3rd degree black belt, and then stopped practicing when I went to college. But a lot of my martial arts journey, I think, parallels with my yoga journey. So it's very artistic martial arts. There's lots of flexibility as well as strength, and it's almost meditative because you're doing choreographed movements, and that I think lent me to pursuing yoga more. So I got into yoga in high school, and then really got a little more consistent and serious about learning about yoga philosophy and meditation towards the end of college. So I did a yoga teacher training in my gap year between college and medical school.
Oh, nice.
And I have really enjoyed just having that skill set, being able to teach all through med school and practice. It's really been a big blessing for me. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, I ran in high school as well, so running was also a big part of my fitness. I used to run a half marathon every year, and then lately I've been transitioning more to strength training. So that's a big part of what I do. I honestly just love being active. I feel like it's when I'm my best self, is when I'm just active every day. So it's a huge priority for me.
How would you say you maintain balance between all these activities that you did and then your yoga training with school?
Yeah. Honestly, I think that the fitness brings me balance. I just really make it a priority for me, and I honestly think I did better in school because of it.
Okay.
It just focuses you, and honestly, if it is a priority, it teaches you how to manage your time. I think, like in medical school, we are super consumed by school and rotations and exams. But that's how the rest of our lives are going to be too. You know, we could choose to let work consume us, or we could just really prioritize the other things in our lives that are important. And that's a huge passion of mine, is just living holistically and you know, making time for all the things that are important to make me feel like a human being. And I think that leads to better patient care and just relating to people and working as a team. So I'd say just, you know, take the time to explore your interests, and if there's something you really love, it's just going to make you into a more whole person and a better doctor and a better everything else you already do. So me personally, there was one period of time in medical school, it was preclinical, so we had a little more autonomy over our time, but I was teaching 3 yoga classes a week.
Oh, wow.
Which I loved, and all through all 4 years, I've taught at least 1 or 2 classes a week. So just carving out that time, and usually I would schedule that at times I know I wouldn't be on rotations. Like Sunday night was one of my classes. That was really important, and just I knew that was my time to kind of relax and give back to people through teaching. And then, first couple of years, I really prioritized working out in the morning before I would, be sitting and studying all day. It just helped to focus me. So I'd wake up at 6 a.m., do a meditation. Usually that was part of my routine, and then hit the gym for about an hour, and I was just got so much more done on the days that I did that.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask specifics about your schedule, which I'm interested in. So during preclinical, you try and do stuff in the morning, meditation and gym work. And then how did that change when you hit clinicals, when the demands of rotations, when you had to be at the hospital at 5 a.m. to pre-round on patients? Did you still work out in the morning, or did you shift how and when you worked out?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's just no way I'm getting up before 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So it definitely shifted. I would usually just wake up. I do like to take some time in the morning just for myself and to kind of set the tone for my day. So I would wake up a little bit earlier, usually an hour before I had to be anywhere, and just get ready. Usually meditate at least for 10 to 15 minutes. That was really, really vital to my day. Maybe incorporate some breath work. And then I would, go do my day, whether I was in the OR, clinic, or inpatient. And then I knew that I had a workout to look forward to at the end of the day. So usually if it wasn't too late, once I got off, I would just go immediately to the gym. Get a workout in, or even in my on really busy rotations like surgery, when I'd get out really late, if I had a little bit of studying to do, I'd just go on the treadmill and kind of walk and do my studying, just to get a little bit of movement in for the day, and then it was just dinner and bedtime.
Yeah, that's kind of what my schedule's like right now in surgery, but I feel like it depends on the rotation you're on. Some rotations you really have to adapt, and in terms of your workouts, for me right now in surgery, it's actually been really hard to find time to do everything, especially if you have hobbies outside of school. Sometimes I feel like I've had to prioritize fitness, being in clinic, and then just sleeping. But anything else I want to do is there's literally no time left. So kind of one question I had is, would you ever sacrifice study time in order to work out, or how did you actually prioritize what to do in a day if you got home really late and knew you had time to work out, but if you did that, you wouldn't do your 20-year-old questions, for example? What was your thought process if you ever had a day like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I honestly just listened to my body and my mind, kind of.
Okay.
So it took some willingness to just be in tune with what I needed that day. So if I was just if my mentally I was spent and I knew it would be really hard to focus, I usually wouldn't push myself to do too much. I might study a little bit, but not maybe skip or move it to the weekend if I needed to. And some days I was physically spent after standing for 14 hours in the OR that day. So on those days, maybe I wouldn't work out, or I would just do a really easy walk or something like that. So, or like yoga, stretch out at the end of the day. So,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe prioritize studying. So yeah, I think it's just, having a general idea of what your goals are, like going into the rotation, how much you're going to study each day. And a lot of the time that shifted as I like realized the demands of the rotation. I would be like, okay, maybe I can't like hit the gym every day on this rotation, but
Mm-hmm.
you just have to, like, I think it's like this in medicine. In all stages, you have to realize like what you can control and what you can't control. So sometimes you don't have as much control over your day, and you just have to roll with the punches. And when you do get that time to choose how you're going to spend it, that's awesome, and you appreciate it even more.
So another question I had is kind of related to your studying itself. Even though this interview is like about fitness, I think that how we manage our time and study like creates the time for fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you study in medical school? And you can go into as much detail as you like, or just be like, I just hit the space bar every day. Or did you have other methods of studying? I'm always interested in how other students study and how they found ways to be efficient to allow time to do other things outside of school.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree. It's so important to find ways to study efficiently. So I was a little lost when I came to med school as to how to do that. Like my study methods in college, like really didn't allow me like the time or energy to do anything else. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to a lot of my friends who I knew were really good at that, who seemed to always have time and had time to do their hobbies and had a healthy relationship with studying. So for me, in my preclinical years, I did like a blend of watching lectures and kind of studying for our boards. So I really only used a few resources, like I used like Sketchy, like we all use,
Yeah.
and Boards and Beyond. And I did do Anki because that, for me, I need to see it a lot of times to
Yeah, me too.
to absorb the information. So that was really helpful for me. And then usually like the week before an exam, I would like watch all of the lectures and kind of see what I hadn't learned already in my studying for boards. And that was the most time efficient for me. I think just like having that plan and schedule and routine was helpful.
Mm-hmm.
I would also just give myself time limits. So waking up early and working out, I would get so much done in the morning. And then I just would kind of like go with the flow of how my mind and my body felt throughout the day. But I would always cut off my studying at like 5 p.m. or 6 at the latest. I wouldn't let myself stay up super late because I just needed that time to decompress at the end of the day. As far as during rotations, I continued kind of using Anki and flashcards because I could do that easily when we had breaks during the day. Maybe when we were inpatient, but it was after rounds and we weren't really doing anything. I could just get some studying done. And I also did UWorld, so I did some practice questions as well. And maybe watch like some videos as well online about different topics I was struggling with. But that was really the extent, just keeping it really simple and staying with just a few resources consistently was the best decision, and definitely sufficient. So
Nice. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. My study strategy is almost exactly the same. Like, keep a minimal amount of resources. Like, don't do resource overload, and just like practice questions, Anki. And then I like what you said about kind of stopping studying at a certain point, like past 6 or 7, to allow time to like decompress and rest. Because I mean, even when you're resting, you're still kind of synthesizing all the knowledge you gained during the day. And then that leaves room to do other things outside of school, like meditation or workout or read a book or anything else besides medicine.
Yeah. It's so important to have that disconnect sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it's you're just, spending time with friends outside of medicine or, reading a book, it's so helpful to remember that there are other parts of your life.
Yeah. So my next question I was going to ask is, what does a typical yoga session or meditation session look like for you? Like, I'm actually a little bit unfamiliar with yoga. Like, are you doing, for calisthenics at least, like I have splits where I target different body parts, but I feel like yoga's pretty full body most of the time. But do you ever try and split your days up, like focusing on a different body part? Or what do your workouts basically look like?
Yeah. So for yoga, the way I practice yoga has shifted over time. I used to really be interested in power yoga, and I would practice the really like fiery, strength-based yoga, which usually is full body. But recently, I think since I started med school, I really use yoga more for a meditative practice. So my goal isn't necessarily like having a really strong practice and a really strong workout. It's more to establish a mind-body connection and kind of find some calm with movement. So the way I practice, it really just varies depending on the day and how I'm feeling. So I might want a more powerful practice. And what I love about yoga is the creativity when you are practicing on your own, like your own self-practice, you're guiding yourself. So I just love to move and see where my body takes me, honestly. It's really great for kind of creating a mental map of how you're feeling physically as you move. So if I notice like a certain area is feeling like a little more restricted or tight, I might do a little more movement with that. Like if my hips are really tight one day, I might do a lot of lunges and stretches targeting that area. So I usually don't have a plan when I go into my practices.
Okay.
It really is just a great way to listen to your body and have that connection.
I don't think I've ever gone to a workout like unplanned. Like I know exactly what I'm gonna do, so it's definitely different. But I like that mentality a lot. Like I feel like on some days I should try that out and see where it goes.
It's a great balance, and I think the thing is it works for yoga. And there are actually some forms of yoga that are very regimented. Actually, the style that I was trained in through my yoga teacher training, it's called Ashtanga yoga.
Okay.
And it is the most regimented like form of yoga. You have 3 different series, and you do the same series every day, and you kind of progress through. So I don't practice like that anymore, just because I strength train. And I always am going into the gym with a plan of what I'm going to do and what my workout's going to look like, for the next 4 weeks, and then switch into another plan. So I think yoga it works really well as a balance to that, not only with the mobility and the flexibility, but also just with the freedom to kind of explore movement.
So I'm interested with yoga, like I mean, it might sound weird, but do you like measure your progress in any way, like objectively? Like are you like, now I can touch my toes or something, and before, like, I didn't have that range, like, or is it more subjective in how you measure your progress with yoga? Or is that not even sort of the goal at all? Because I'm always sort of oriented in progress with fitness, and I'm wondering if you apply that in any way with yoga, like how do you measure your progress?
Yeah, absolutely. The cool thing about yoga is there are always like more difficult poses or arm balances or like handstands that you can work towards. So I definitely do have these like little goals I'm trying to achieve. I've been working on holding my handstand. Maybe that's something you can help me with.
Nice.
For years now, and I'm getting like closer and closer.
So the balance will be different.
So for sure, there are little elements of the practice that you can set goals and progress towards. Flexibility too, like really just practicing consistently. You start to notice as you practice some of those things that are getting a little bit easier, or being more flexible in one muscle group. So that's really fun to see with yoga as well.
Nice. All right, so my last question I have for you is for a student who might be struggling with fitness or wants to get into being more active in school, like whether they're in undergrad or in medical school, what advice would you give to them to be able to pursue fitness but also just maintain, good grades and still be active in school as well? What's like the main advice that you would give?
I think finding an activity, a fitness activity that you just really enjoy, you have a lot of enjoyment with, you'll stick to because you look forward to doing it, is the most important thing. I don't think it matters, if you're doing like cardio or strength training or anything like really specific. I don't think there's one magic pill. I think the magic is when you can find something you just love to do and are very passionate about. So that would be my main advice.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the balance goes, like when you start pursuing fitness and you're moving your body and you're active, like your brain is going to move too. I think it really helps with focus, and it will make you more productive overall and better in school. Of course, everything in moderation. So if you're working out 8 hours a day, maybe you're not going to have time to study, but in moderation, if you find like something you love, I think it's so easy to balance. And just because our bodies want to move, like once you start, it feels so good, and I think it really will benefit every part of your life, including your studies. So yeah, just find something you love. Data bio.
Nice.
The Baki pose. Oh. Nice. Let's try.